All right, aspirants, let's get straight into it. Today, we're breaking down a super important topic for your exams, the economic partnership between India and the UAE. And we're going to put the Comprehensive Economic Partnership Agreement, or CEPA, right under the microscope. This is a big one, so we'll cover all the must-know facts, figures, and concepts.
So, here's how we're going to tackle this. First, we'll look at the foundation of the relationship, what was happening before CEPA. Then, we'll decode the agreement itself. After that, we'll dig into the numbers to see its real impact, see how the alliance is growing, and then wrap it all up with a full-on exam review.
Okay, first things first. To really get why CEPA is such a huge deal, you've got to understand the strong relationship that was already in place before the agreement was even signed. This context is absolutely key.
So, the groundwork was already pretty solid. We had a comprehensive strategic partnership going since 2015, and the UAE was a major player. They were India's 8th largest investor, pouring in about $18 billion US. And take note of that MOU for development in Jammu and Kashmir in 2021. That shows the ties were getting deeper, going way beyond just typical business.
And this number, wow. This really tells you everything you need to know about the commitment level. The UAE pledged a massive $75 billion for infrastructure development in India. Definitely a figure you want to remember, because it shows just how vital a partner the UAE was in India's growth story, even before CEPA came along. Right, let's get to the main event, the Comprehensive Economic Partnership Agreement, or CEPA. We're going to see how this historic deal took that strong foundation and just launched it into a whole new orbit.
Okay, get your notebooks out. These dates are crucial for your exams. Signed on February 18, 2022, and it went into effect just a couple of months later, on May 1st. But the really wild part? The negotiations were wrapped up in a record-breaking 88 days. 88 days! That just shows you how serious both sides were about getting this done.
So, what exactly is CEPA? Well, this isn't your run-of-the-mill trade deal. It's India's first really deep, comprehensive free trade agreement in more than 10 years, and it covers the whole shebang: goods, services, intellectual property, digital trade, you name it. It's a truly holistic economic pact.
Now this is where it gets really interesting. Let's talk market access. India got preferential access to over 97% of the UAE's tariff lines. And get this, that covers a staggering 99% of Indian exports by value. The UAE, in return, got access to over 90% of India's tariff lines, so you can see it was a win-win, but with a slight edge for India, which is a key feature of this deal.
So who were the big winners on the Indian side? Well, here they are. The agreement gave a major leg up to a ton of labor-intensive sectors. Gems, textiles, leather, footwear. Exactly the kind of industries India is looking to boost. This list is super important. You'll probably see questions on it.
Okay. So that's all the theory, but did it actually work? What was the real-world impact? Well, let's let the numbers do the talking, because they tell a pretty amazing story.
Just look at this table. In the very first full fiscal year after CEPA kicked in, bilateral trade leaped from $72.9 billion to $84.5 billion. That's a jump of over 16%. That's a clear, immediate, and positive impact right there.
And this chart really puts it all into perspective. India's exports to the UAE grew by almost 12%. That's more than double the growth rate of India's exports to the rest of the world. This is basically the smoking gun. It proves that CEPA was a massive catalyst.
And here's a number that shows you just how much businesses are actually using this agreement. By February 2025, more than 240,000 of these things called preferential certificates of origin had been issued. These certificates are the golden tickets to get those tariff benefits, and they've already helped facilitate nearly $20 billion in exports. And they're not stopping there. Building on all this success, both countries have set a hugely ambitious goal for the future: to crank up their non-oil bilateral trade to a whopping $100 billion by 2030. That's a big, bold statement of intent you should definitely keep in mind. Okay, exam tip time. To help you remember the top 5 sectors with the biggest growth potential under CEPA, just use this simple mnemonic: GTPSP. That's G for gems and jewelry, T for textiles, P for pharmaceuticals, S for steel, and the last P for petrochemicals. Say it with me: GTPSP. Super handy for revision. But the story doesn't end with CEPA. Not at all. The partnership is alive and it's growing. Let's take a look at some of the new strategic moves that are making this economic integration even deeper.
So, there are two big new initiatives you need to know about. First is the local currency settlement system. This is a game changer because it lets businesses trade directly in rupees and dirhams, which means they don't have to rely on the US dollar. And second, there's Bharatmart, a massive 2.7 million square foot marketplace in Dubai that's basically a giant launchpad for Indian exporters to reach the whole world.
And if you need a perfect real-world example of these deepening ties and growing investor confidence, look no further. A major UAE bank, Emirates NBD, just recently made a move to buy a controlling stake in India's RBL Bank.
Now, this isn't just some simple investment. It's a full-on, multi-step acquisition. They're starting with a primary infusion of about $3 billion for a majority stake. Then there's a mandatory offer to the public shareholders. And finally, they'll merge their own Indian branches into RBL. This shows just an incredible amount of confidence in India's booming financial sector.
All right, let's pull it all together. This last part is where we synthesize everything we've talked about into one comprehensive slide. Seriously, think of this as your ultimate cheat sheet with all the crucial facts, figures, and jargon.
So here it is, everything in one place. You've got the full name of the agreement, the key dates, and that incredible 88-day negotiation period. The $100 billion trade target for 2030. The trade data showing that jump from 72.9 to 84.5 billion. The specific market access percentages, remember 97 for India, 90 for the UAE. Your new jargon, local currency settlement system, and Bharatmart. The RBL bank deal as a key investment example. And of course, your mnemonic, GTPSP. I'm serious, take a screenshot of this slide. It's perfect for your last-minute revision.
And that leaves us with one final big-picture thought. This powerful agreement, it's probably not just about two countries. You know, as these larger economic corridors like the India, Middle East, Europe ones start to take shape, you have to wonder, could the India-UAE CEPA actually be the blueprint for a whole new way of doing trade across entire regions? It's something to think about.